First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zengkong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dubden Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today. The dragon riding white Jambala. Simo Danchen Gatso, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, disciples everywhere over the webcast, because we have more chairs than participants today. So, therefore, we say hi to all the disciples participating over the webcast, the internet. How do you do? Would like to announce for next Sunday on March 29th. March 29th, it's the attainment of Sima Bodhisattva. So it's exactly that day. So on Sunday at 3 p.m. there would be the Homa of the four-arm Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva or Chenrezig. So for this period of time, we welcome all disciples from all over the place to become primary supplicants. You don't have to come personally. So we only have the webcast. This kind of ceremonies until Grandmaster lives to be 76. It never happened before. That we only have webcasts for ceremonies. However, we welcome everyone watching over the internet can become primary supplicants. Because the four-arm Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva or Chenrezig in Tibet, which is the original place for the Tantric or Tibetan Buddhism, Chenrezig is considered the Yidam of all Tibet. His Holiness the 16th Karmapa and all the Karmapas, the Dharma kings, are emanation of Chenrezigs. And Dalai Lama is also an emanation of Chenrezig. And Zazen Rinpoche, Panchen Lama. We refer to him as Zasi Rinpoche, was an emanation of the Buddha of the infinite light. That's Amitabha Buddha. So the whole Tibet recite his mantra. So therefore, this Chandrasik is very important. So today, we perform the Homa of the dragon riding white Shambhala. We all know that he's a wealth deity and he is surrounded by 4 Dakinis, and his origin was Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. Therefore, we prayed to Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva too earlier. He was living in the Crystal Palace. So his altar we have to use crystals to set up his altar or mandala in the pyramid shape. 7 of this. And between the pyramids of crystals, we should place 7 bowls of bathing water or slippery water. We call it bathing water. This bathing water is very important to the white Shambhala because his favorite is to take shower, take a bath. Each Shambhala has their own hobbies, and white Shambhala loves to bathe, take shower. So for his altar, at the center there's white Shambhala, and around him his altar is round, and then around him we place 7 crystal pyramids, and between the crystals we place 7 bowls of bathing water. That's the most important part of his altar. And then other offerings can be placed at the second circle, like the incense, flowers, tea, lamb, and fruits. And at the center, the dragon riding white Shambhala, crystals, bathing water, and flowers, incense, lamb, tea, and fruit. And you can also add the 2 whites and 3 sweets. What are the 2 whites? The white barley. In Tibet, it was the barley flour. But here in the West, we can use the white wheat flour and milk, or milk powder, white milk powder. Those are the 2 whites, and the 3 sweets are the white sugar, honey, and rock sugar. 3 sweets. They're all sweet. White sugar, rock sugar, and honey. They are the 3 sweets. So you have to these offerings, these items for the offering. These are what he likes. I had transmitted the Dharma practice of this white Jambala. The mudra is like this. The palm facing outward, and then the thumb and the ring finger forming a circle. This is the flicking mudra, like you're flicking the water. And the mantra.
Om Bema Zoda Arya Zambala Shetaya Hom Pei. Om Bema Zoda Arya Zambala Shetaya Hom Pei. 它的咒语是这样子的。
That's the mantra.
这是启龙白财神的咒语。那么它的形象呢？启龙白财神身子是白色。
And his image, his body is white, one face, 2 arms, 3 eyes, red hair. He is good looking, wearing a small 5 Buddha crown. He's short and stocky and strong with a big belly. So all well deities have big bellies. He rides on a green dragon. And the right hand is holding a wish-fulfilling staff or kachanka. And the left hand is holding a treasure mouse. A treasure mouse. And his right arm is clutching on the kachanka. And on the 4 directions there are 4 dakinis, and at the top is Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, which is his origin.
他的形象是这样子。那么祁隆白财神，我记得是以前传过法，传过，是在 Mary Park， 是不是 Mary Park？
We have, I have transmitted this Dharma.
Marymount Park.
Was it at the Marymount Park? Marymount Park.
就是在我们这个西雅图雷藏寺的往下走，那里有一个很大的公园。那么我们在草地。
A little bit further from the Seattle temple, there's a huge park, and we conducted the ceremony on the lawn, on the grass lawn, and it was attended by a great Rinpoche. We could say he was like the chief of the council of Tibet, and he was Chikmye Rinpoche. He attended the ceremony of the dragon riding white Jambala at the Marymount Park. Marymount Park. I remembered it clearly. He told me, hey, you know, Tibetans always conduct ceremonies on the grassland. And little did he imagine that attending our ceremonies, it was also on the grass. So he felt like he was home. That's what he told me. And setting up the altar or the mandala is very important. The bathing water is very important. To do the white Jambala practice, his altar and bathing water are very important. And you have to touch the bathing water and then sprinkle it. And then you visualize money all over the sky falling on you and filling your whole house. All this money or all precious items, gold. So a true gold. So that becomes a true gold house. There's that gold house with the woods. So the whole house is made of gold. And inside the house it's totally filled with gold. So you'll be very wealthy that way. And for the Taiwanese, you visualize the NT dollars. For the Chinese, you visualize the renminbi. For the Americans, we visualize the Franklin bills or US dollars. That the US dollar bills all falling from the sky, filling the whole house. That's the meaning by flicking or sprinkling the bathing water. And you visualize they all become money and gold and all the precious items to fill your whole house. There's another key formula. Before you flick the water, after you dip your finger in the bathing water, you want to just taste it a little bit. Just to touch it to your own mouth. That means that's for you. So the white Jambala is bestowing upon you all the precious items. And there's something very special. Like I said, the money that we earn, windfalls, and also Dharma wealth, all complete. So what is the windfalls? Like when you get it through winning lottery or prizes. So it's not that you earn it yourself, but this is something that you got from the from gambling in a casino or poker card. Then you pray to the white Jambala and then you would be able to win. Then luck be on your side. There were the California 4 small girls. We went to Las Vegas together. We were not planning to gamble. We were waiting for the bus, for the tour bus. So we went inside the casino and they played the poker cards. And just for fun, just a little bit. So I chanted the mantra, but I didn't say what mantra it was. And as I was chanting, whatever they bet, they won. Whether it was a big one, a small one. So 4 of them, at first they only had a few, but they won a lot. Then started with just a few bargaining chip, and then the host, whatever you call that, the host that distribute the cards changed several of them, and even the manager came, and everybody came looking, everybody from the next tables And they kept winning and winning and
步
winning.
都发，每一次都赢，没有一
They
次输。
always won. They never lost, not even
赢到
once.
那个筹码非常的多，
Until the chips
这个
get
经理都很惊讶，
so many, so
发牌的发了都，
and the manager was
那
shocked.
个牌子翻了，
And
这个
the
放掉，放
the
新的
one
牌，放
the
新的
dealer who distributed the cards, they changed the dealers, they changed the cards, they changed the deck,
整个
and they always lost.
这个 casino 轰动。
So it was quite a sensation in the casino. Everybody came by to watch us,
我们的手都在发抖，
and that their hands were
那
trembling.
些拿牌起来翻了，到底怎么发怎么赢？
It doesn't matter what cards they dealt. We
最后就看出
won.
来
Finally, the
救
bus
了我们呐、
came,
否则所有
and
的
saved
全部在
us.
我们这一桌上。
otherwise everybody was watching us.
赢一次，他们就惊叫一时，
Because every time they won, they would shriek.
响遍营销，
That they shriek
那一
reaches
次到最后筹
the
码
clouds.
全部泛红现金，
So when they exchanged the chips
赢了就跑，
into cash and then we left.
真的是太爽快，
It was really
从来没有这样子赢过。
fun.
他
It
们
was
没有
really, really
这样子
fun.
过
It never happened like that in
一
the
般来讲
casino either.
那个庄脚发牌的做庄的
Typically,
输的话，他们
when the
快
dealer keep losing, they would change.
慢慢
And they kept changing
一
the
直在办好。
cards too, the decks of
主要
cards
是
too.
大妈的尖叫声太响亮，
And
令得
that's
经理
because of the shrieks
乡里
of the four ladies were really loud, and
旁边桌的通通都停下来，
so all the managers and managers, they all came by, and all the other people too came over and
动的
watched.
场面
Just
真的
imagine
骑龙牌财神真的可以发偏财啊！
what a sensation it was. So this dragon
大家
riding
用一个
white jambala really give lots of windfalls.
把沐浴水全部放进去，
So prepare a huge bath
都是真的，然后
bathtub
在这个沐
and fill it with bathing water,
提醒其
and
中
then
的
you make a boat,
点一根蜡
a wood
白
boat,
色的蜡烛，
and that underneath is pointed, and then you place a white candle and lit the candle,
抖动，
and then you chant the mantra of the white jambala, and when white jambala descended, the boat will
都在那里，然后
will
开始
tremble, will
一个
shake,
日
and then you place all the numbers around it, and then the boat would point to the first number and return to the center, and then point to the next number, and the third number, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth
数
numbers.
目都出来，
So all the numbers, and then you buy the lottery according to those numbers,
记
and
得
you
这个
will
方
win.
法吗？
Do you remember this
谁
method?
记得这个方法的？
Do you remember?
台下没有几个人，
We don't have many people here.
看看，记得那就不用讲了。啊，怎么样子做？
If you remember that, I don't need to talk about it.
我告诉你，
That method is very good, very effective.
新冠状病毒，
Like this time for the coronavirus,
你只要在家里有坛城有沐浴水，
if you have
你
bathing
请
water
西东牌上
on your
帮忙
altar and you pray to White Jambala to
他
help,
的他是四大天王的身份，
he is at the position of the four heavenly kings. The White Jambala is related to the four heavenly kings. The four heavenly kings, of course, are
这个坛
have control or authority over the plague gods. So you use the bathing water and then you sprinkle them around your house. Then the epidemics will not touch your house. There are many methods to eradicate the epidemics. So if you have flu or fever and you do this practice and then you touch the bathing water and then you touch it to your tongue or to your mouth and then you pray to White Shambhala, then your fever will subside and you will recover. Or you sprinkle the bath water. That's fine too. This is very important. There are several Dharma practices that are very special. These Dharma practices were taught to me by the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Don't throw away the bathing water. After you finish your Dharma practice, for 7 practices or 49 practices, and you can just place a piece of wood on the water, and underneath the wood you can put wax because it's slippery, and then you place a candle on top of the piece of wood. After you finish 7 times or 49 times, and if White Shambhala descends upon the altar, then this little boat will tremble, or the flames of the white candle will also flicker. That means the White Shambhala has descended. Then it would point to the numbers. And the bathing water can also get the money that you loan to people. So when you pray to White Shambhala and then you use the bathing water, even just a drop, into the drinks of the people who owe you, then they would return their loans. And the bathing water can also getting the treasures. So a white, take a green branch that represent the green dragon, and then tie a piece of white cloth which represents the White Shambhala, and then you are using that stick to find the treasures. Because Guru Padmasambhava and Ishichugal have hidden lots of treasures, Dharma treasures, in Tibet, in Nepal, in Bhutan, many places. There are lots of Dharma treasures. So if you use a green stick and the white cloth, and then you take it to a place where a treasure is hidden, then the bamboo stick, the green bamboo stick would tremble and the white cloth will flutter. That's telling you that underneath there is treasure.
告诉大家啊，启动白财神。
So let me tell you that the dragon riding white Jambala, after you perform this bathing water practice, in order to prevent from the epidemics, you can flick the bathing water around your house. Then the disease, the epidemics will not enter into your house. And afterwards, you take the bathing water and place it on your forehead and at the tip of your tongue. Then you would not encounter negative energy or will not be the target.
新型的肺炎已经有特效药问世，请坚持服用。
For this coronavirus, we have a special medicine. It's extremely effective, and the medicine is stay home.
对呀，你出去感染的机会就很多。
Because if you go out, then there's a lot of chances to be infected. I heard from Master Lian Chuan that this coronavirus can stay in the air for 8 hours. When I heard that, I was shocked. How could the virus stay in the air for 8 hours? That's really scary. It's very terrifying. So the infection is really horrible. So after you finish the practice of Vajjambala, then you touch the bathing water on your forehead and at the tip of your tongue. Then if there's virus coming, then you can somehow twist your leg and switch around so that you avoid the virus. Let's continue to talk about Lamdre.
复次，持陀罗尼仙圆满修自成本尊之瑜伽。
Also,
物观其平，刹那无所言空性中，现阿字
big shadows
叶轮上有一个吽重。
Also hold the Dharani thread and practice perfectly the yoga of becoming the Yida. Then visualize that vase in the flesh becomes amidst the empty nature of all no affinities, where the A character appears, which transforms to become a mundus, and on top of it a Jong character, which transforms to become a treasure vase. And the 5 herbs inside the vase transform into Ali, and the 32 vowels. And to become a mundus, the 5 treasures transform into Kali and 40 consonants, which become a sandis. The 5 grains transform into home character between the sun and mundus, which become Vajraceptor, embellished with the home characters. Then altogether transform into Bhagavan's mind, the Vajra immutable Buddha, embellished with bone ornaments, with 1 face and 2 arms, the male Buddha holding a bell and scepter, the female Buddha holding a Kapala and Kartika. At the same time, above, inside the cons, visualize oneself becoming any Yida. Together, both should be hooked into the wisdom deity, body, speech, and mind blessed, and the immovable Buddha is sitting on top of our head. And the immovable Buddha has the immovable Buddha sitting on top of him. One should say a praise and make offering to both of them, and to the 3 kinds and 8 divisions, for a total of 24 Buddhas.
推请金刚处寂之本尊。
Also chant the Yidam mantra, the mantra wheel radiating and circling around the Dharani thread to invoke the Yidam's Raja scepter navel. From his skin pours sweet nectar water of the self-nature. 5 wisdoms flow, filling the water offering container which flows into the vase. Inside the vase, it flows from the immovable Buddha's head downward, and from his pores, the pearly white 5 wisdom nectar flows continuously. Also chant the mantra 108 times. Eventually, the vase becomes full. Then the Yidam inside the vase transforms into a ray of light, filling the water offering container, which later fills the treasure vase. Then the immovable Buddha inside the vase dissolves to become as fine as dust. Practice this way 4 times a day for 3 days. Afterwards, chant the auspicious verse and the Yidam mantra. Do the bathing practice at the 3 hours. This can eradicate the 3 kinds of big shadows of demonic hindrances. And for the medium demonic shadow, it is the same except the ashes from the enrichment homa. For the small demonic shadows, replace the ash with the ash from the purification homa. And to stop local plaque and epidemic, use magnetization ash. So it talks about epidemics too here. The last one. So replace the ash from magnetization ash. So homa ashes can also stop epidemics. So this whole excerpt is about performing a Dharma practice. So, in other words, after finishing performing this Dharma practice, you can cut off the big, medium, and the small demonic hindrances. That's the meaning of this practice. They use the wishful feeling. Vase or empowerment vase. Then after filling it with water, another key point is you need to use the 5-color thread as protection around the altar. The altar is in front of you, and you sit here, and then you place the 5-color thread in a circle around you as a protection. So the practice procedure is following these characters. Hold the Dharani thread, and for us it's the 5-colored thread, the thread that has been chanted, and practice perfectly the yoga of becoming the Yidam. So you're already in spiritual union with the Yidam. Then observe your empowerment vase, that in a split of a moment there is the character appearing, which transforms to become a mundus, and on top of the mundus there's a character zong, which transforms to become a treasure vase, and inside the vase 5 kinds of herbs that transform into ali and 32 vowels that transform to become a mundus, So there are 5 herbs and 5 treasures that were placed inside the vase. The 5 treasures transform into Kali and 40 consonants, which become a sun disk. And then the 5 grains. So 5 herbs, 5 treasures, and 5 grains. The 5 grains transform into home character between the sun and moon disk, which transforms to become Vajra scepter, embellished with the home characters. And all this together transform into the Bhagavan's mind of the Vajra immutable Buddha. That's Akshobha Buddha. Immutable Buddha is the same as Akshobha Buddha. And the male Buddha holds a balanced scepter. The female Buddha holds a Kapala and Kartika. At the same time, visualize above, inside the conch, visualize yourself becoming your own yidam. So the conch becomes the yidam. And together, both should be hooked onto the wisdom deity, into the wisdom deity Akshobha. So body, speech, and mind blessed, and the Akshobha Buddha is sitting on top of our heads. And the immovable Buddha has the immovable Buddha sitting on top of him. So, and we make offering. We should say a praise and make offering to both of them. And then we chant the Yidam's mantra, and the mantra wheel radiating and circling. So the mantra wheel radiating light around the 5 colored thread, circling the thread to invoke the Yidam's Vajra scepter navel. And from his skin pores, sweet nectar water of the self-nature 5 wisdoms flow to fill the water offering container, which flows into the vase, and inside the vase it flows from the Akshobha Buddha's head downward, and from his pores the pearly white 5 wisdom nectars flows continuously, and chant the mantra 108 times until the vase is full. So you should understand these words, which is not so deep. This is the empowerment vase. So when we do the empowerment using vase empowerment, according to the Tibetan Dharma, they put the 5 treasures. Do you know what the 5 treasures are? So we know what the 5 treasures are, like the gold, silver, and 5 herbs. And we've talked about the 5 herbs before. One of them is called the Foso-san. So 5 treasures and 5 grains. Like rice, wheats, 5 kinds of grains. And from this, it transforms into the Akshobha Buddha. And then when you pour water into it, so it's the same as the five wisdom nectar that flowed from the Akshobha Buddha. And you visualize your own yidam. So the yidam at the Vajrasattva navel, that's Dorje Pamu. And also from her, there were five wisdom nectar flowed from her body. So when Grandmaster is conferring the vase empowerment, I touched it to my forehead and visualized the yidam entering into the vase. And then from the skin pores of the deity, the five wisdom nectar is flowing out, and it has to be real. So you touch the empowerment vase on your brow point, and the yidam is already inside the vase, and inside the vase there are also the five herbs, five treasures, and five grains, which transform into the yidam sitting inside. And from his skin pores, the nectar of the five wisdom is flowing out. We know the five wisdom, right? The intrinsic wisdom of the Dharma nature, the great perfection, the mirror-like of the great perfect wisdom, the all-accomplished wisdom, the wisdom of all observation. The five wisdoms nectar would flow into the water inside the empowerment vase, and then use that water to confer empowerment to everybody. And this empowered water can eliminate the big demonic obstructions, the medium and the small demonic obstructions. And all the Dharma practices in here, it's very detailed. When Grandmaster is conferring the empowerment, we have to follow this tantric tradition. We have to place five herbs, five treasures, and five grains to prepare it. That transform to become the yidam. But this is too detailed here. From the five herbs and five treasures and five grains, these kinds of things, and then the mundis and sundis, and then the mantra wheels that transform into the yidams step by step. So this is as if teaching you the Upa Yoga or the Kriya Yoga, the Yoga Tantra, and the highest Yoga Tantra. So the Upa Yoga is very detailed and repetitious like this. But in the Yoga Tantra level, then you are Yidam, Yidam is you. And you just use visualization, and the Yidam is inside the empowerment vase. And from the skin pores of the Yidam, the five wisdom nectar would flow into the water. And this can eradicate the big demonic shadows, medium, and the small shadows, or the big hindrances and obstructions, medium hindrances and obstructions, and small hindrances and obstructions, or demonic obstructions, which can be eradicated using empowerments. The practice procedure is extremely detailed here. This is the same as the yoga, the Upa Yoga.
or
Upa Tantra. But for the Yoga Tantra level, you invoke the yidam and the yidam inside the empowerment water, and then the 5 wisdom water flowing from the yidam skin pours into the water, and by conferring the empowerment using that water, it can eradicate lots of karma. This is a very shocking secret. My great-grandfather had 4 wives, my grandpa 2 wives, my dad 1 wife, and I'm single, have no wife. Oh, so 3 for great-grandpa, 2 for grandpa, 1 for my dad, and 0 for myself. So this is a subtraction. My grandpa had 6 wives, and my dad had 1 wife. That's a sharp decline. My grandpa had 6 wives, and my dad only had 1 wife. So that's the sharp decline from the highest to the lowest. It's written. So it's what's important about the mountain is not its height, but if there's a sage in it, and the water is not in its depth, but it's in the dragon, and a man is not in his look, but within his money. There was a joke. There was an elderly man went into the gym and asked the personal trainers, "How should I train? What machine should I use so that I can attract a girlfriend?" And the trainer told him, "Why don't you just use the ATM machine?" Just the ATM machine would be fine, would work. About face mask. Frankly speaking, I love this days that we have to wear masks. It's an elderly lady to another one. But why do you like it? And one of the elderly ladies said, because now we don't have to put on makeup. Everybody looks the same. And the other elderly lady said, I don't even have to wash my hair or my face even, because nobody recognizes me anyway. There's the advantage of wearing face masks. Then you don't have to put on makeup. Right? Since you're already wearing face mask, you don't have to brush your teeth. Nobody can smell you anyway. And there's no need to wash your face or even to shower. That's pretty good. This epidemic was compared to the World War III. In the past, it was battling against the resources. This time is battling against the virus. And the wars in the past, we have to rely on bombs and weapons. Now we rely on face mask. And then in the front line, there were the shoulders. Now in the front line, it's Wuhan. It sounded the same. Before we have to attack the cities, now we are defending the cities. In the past, in the war, we rely on the warriors, and now we rely on the nurses. When I like you, your problem is my problem. But when I don't like you, your problem is none of my business. Frankly speaking, we are not so panic about other people's problems, but we only panic about our own problems usually. This is also another joke about the epidemics. Spain is the whole country locked down. So although the people cannot go out, but it's okay if you walk the dog. So his dog was really tired because all the neighbors are borrowing the dog. So his dog has been walked 38 times. Because the rule is that you can walk the dog. So you can earn money. How much for? So if you want to borrow my dog for a walk, then you have to pay a certain amount. Today, we are very grateful to all the disciples over the internet although I cannot see you, but you always see me. So you add the merriment here, right in front of Grandmaster. There are more chairs than people. It never happened before. Now that I live to be 76, so this is really quite splendid. Oh, Mani Bemi Hong.